Secondly, a second thing I want to bring to your attention, that is exchanging the old for the new will require stretching on our part. You know, the difference between new wineskins and old wineskins was their elasticity. Old wineskins no longer could stretch. They no longer could expand. And yet new wineskins were those kind of skins that, you know, when new wine was put in and the new wine began to ferment, it allowed for that flexibility. I wanted to bring a balloon this morning and begin to blow it up and show you the whole concept of that, you know, flexibility. But in all my life, there are two things I have never been able to do, and one of them is blow up a balloon. I cannot do it. It is like physically impossible. You want to know what the other thing is? You got to come back to 10:30 service. No, the other thing is, y'all check out Facebook. It'll be there this afternoon. No, I can't whistle. I cannot whistle and I cannot blow up balloons. I have gone through life challenged. So what can I say? If I form my lips and somehow get a whistle out there, it is a great day in the life of Tom Finken. You know, I hear these people whistling Great Joy coming out, and I think, man, I can't even do that. Just doesn't happen. But anyway, so if we're going to exchange the old for the new, it's going to require stretching on our part. And the difference between new wineskins and old wineskins was their elasticity, as I said. So Jesus was saying to put new wine into old wineskins is disastrous. To put this new wine that's going to ferment into new skins is just, it's going to destroy. The new wine is still fermenting, and old wine skins are dry and they're rigid and they're brittle. And the pressure of new wine fermenting would burst those skins, and the wine would spill out and fall to the ground and it'd be wasted. So new wine had to be placed in soft new skins, flexible and pliable skins. And that's the way it is when we want to be new wineskins. We've got to be flexible and pliable. And don't miss the importance of this, because the new wine that Jesus talks about typifies the Spirit of God and God's new way of touching individuals. He's saying He wants to pour His Spirit in us. But if we're going to be old and just continue to stick with our old customs and our old ways and our old brittle lives, then we're not going to be able to receive new wine. God is wanting to do a new thing. And so He talks about this, the new wine as a type of the Spirit of God coming. And these new wineskins are those individuals who will step out of old ways and old systems that are going nowhere and see God do a new work in our lives. They're willing to forget the past, adapt and stretch to see God do a new thing. And that's what I want to be. I say, God, make me a new wineskin. Make me a new wineskin every day of my life, so I'm not just stuck in yesterday's systems. You know, Mark in his gospel says of Jesus, he says, on the Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue and taught. And the word for taught means He adapted His method of delivery to the place, time, audience, and subject matter at hand. So it says that Jesus walked into the synagogue and He adapted His delivery to the place, time, audience, and subject matter. We see another time when Jesus climbed into a boat, and He told His disciples to row out a little while, and there He taught as well. It is that same concept of adapting the method of delivery and to the place, time, and audience, and the subject matter at hand. So what we find is that Jesus was flexible to meet His audience where they were. But many in today's church don't want to adapt. They want to stand fast. They want to hold the fort. And the new generation is saying church is boring and it's irrelevant and it doesn't meet our needs. And so why should I be a part of it? And what we find is they're checking out of the spiritual realm because we're not clearly communicating the message. We're not clearly communicating the message of Jesus in relevant terms and ways and ideas that they can identify with. I don't expect you to know this name, but Giuseppe Mazzini lived in the 1800s. He was an Italian patriot and politician who helped bring about what we know to be the present modern Italy. And he said this, he said, "Slumber not in the tents of your fathers. The world is advancing. Advance with it." He was making an appeal to be flexible to adjust with the times, to stretch and be stretched. In fact, I've debated all week since preparing this message whether I wanted to share this point or not, because I don't want to be in anybody's face, and yet it's a very vivid point and where we are today. Joe McKeever says this in his article, The Trouble with Old Wineskins. He says the problem with wineskins is that they age, and they become dry and brittle, resistant and unyielding, stiff and set in their ways. The marvelous old hymn, The Old Rugged Cross, was written in 1913. It was a new song then, but church people welcomed it and sang it until it became a great old standard. What if they had said, we don't like these new songs? We'd still be singing the Psalms in Latin. I thought, whoa. See, not everything that comes our way is going to be palatable, but we must adapt. We must be pliable, and it will require stretching. But if it wins one soul, if it introduces one person, if it brings a new generation in step with Jesus, then it is worth it all. Amen. So the truth is, when we adapt and we use new methods, it wins them, and the truth is the Spirit uses us. And so it's a total win-win situation. The Spirit of God is using us, and He's winning our present generation. And that's so important. We must be willing to be stretched. We have to be pliable.